So when I first decided to go plant-based, one of the first things I did was load up on a ton of vegan frozen food. I still do buy some of it today, but the main reason I went plant-based wasn't because of the diet, but it was because of my health. My cholesterol was going up, my sugars were going up, and I really needed to make a change. So I started to lean more into a whole food plant-based diet and reduce my oil and eat real food. So after 10 years of eating this way, I have figured out how to make plant-based cooking simple so that I could actually stick with it, and that's what I want to share with you today in this video. Because honestly, this can get complicated really fast. So how do you actually make it simple enough so that you can stick with it? Tip number one, simplify your spices. One of the things that I hear from people is that you need to buy so many different seasonings and spices to be able to cook this way. And that could seem like really expensive and overwhelming, because I used to look at different recipes and there'd be all these different seasonings and spices, and I thought the same thing. You buy it, you use it once, and then the container expires. But what I've come to realize, you can really simplify your ingredients. I probably have about 7 to 10 spices that I use on a rotating basis when I'm cooking. Basically, it's garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, smoked paprika, chili powder, salt, pepper, some nutritional yeast. When I started eating plant-based, I was not aware of what nutritional yeast was, so I went to buy it in the store. I'm looking down the baking aisle where they have like the yeast for when you're making bread, and then eventually I did find it. So it's in the seasoning aisle, and this is what it looks like, and this is what you use for having that cheesy flavor in a lot of your dishes. So when you're cooking, just try not to get too overwhelmed by all those recipes out there with all the different ingredients. Generally speaking, you probably have about 7 or less spices that you would use on an ongoing basis. Tip number 2, prep a few basics. The biggest game changer for me was prepping a few of the basics. So if you got rice, quinoa, or potatoes already cooked, dinner's halfway done. So one night you could have a burrito bowl. The next night you could make a stir fry. You could have a loaded baked potato with a sweet potato or a white potato. So you don't have to start from scratch every night when you're making dinner. So it keeps it really doable. I know one of the biggest challenges I faced was making it work for my family. Not everybody in my family is plant-based. So in the beginning, I would end up making multiple meals, but I don't do that anymore. So what I do now is I make a base, which would say be the potatoes or the grain, and then I add in some beans, veggies, and a sauce. And if somebody wants something else, they can always add that to the dish. So then I'm only cooking once. So that's what finally made cooking plant-based easy for me. You simplify your ingredients, you have prep a few staples, and you make one meal that can work for everybody. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something that you can do so you can actually stick with it. And if you want 5 of my go-to dinners that are under 15 minutes, I have a link below with a free guide of plant-based in 15 minutes. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.